Another local presence here on the Dells Ducks. Jeremy Greenwood is a coach slash scout for the Dells Ducks, also a coach for RWD, and kind of a local, not I was going to say local legend, but a
Not
work in
quite.
progress, I guess. It's nice
Yeah,
to see a local player getting that involved.
yeah.
Maybe if we could just start by going back, Jeremy. You played for the Reedsburg varsity high school team.
Yep.
What years were you there?
So that would have been, gosh, Jimmy, that would have been like 2004 through 2008.
So a couple years before the RWD program started, you were with the Baraboo Co-op.
Yep,
I
actually, I
guess.
was with the BRH co-op for the first 2 years of its existence.
Okay.
Yep.
And as a player, you came up through obviously through the Polars, I would assume. And
Yep, that's correct.
and what was your sort of identity or personality as a player?
Well, it's a good question. You know, I had the ability to. I was blessed to have some really good teammates coming up through youth.
Yeah.
I won 2 state championships. My second year Pee Wee, second year Bantam.
Nice.
And you know, I guess the thing that I took the most pride in was being the captain of those teams, and just kind of being a leader at that time. And you know, we you know, being from Reedsburg, small town, we had 12 guys. You know, so it was constant. You know, go, and so you had to try to keep morale up. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed my youth years in Reedsburg.
Yeah. Did you play other sports as well?
Yep. So I was a 4-year varsity letter for soccer,
Okay.
and actually went to college for soccer.
Oh, nice.
But and then I played baseball too, and was a 2-year letter winner there.
So a 3-sport athlete.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What is it about hockey then that kind of really sort of piqued your interest as a coach and scout in that type of role?
You know, I got to be honest. Neil played a big part in that for me.
Okay.
You know, I was done with college, and I, you know, he's always been the type of coach that's welcomed you to come back to the rink and just skate with the guys that are in practice, as long as you're not a distraction or an interference. And I did that, and my first year coaching was Dylan Brown's freshman year, Jordan Brown's senior year, the state year. And so I got a real kind of like, holy smokes, this is a lot of fun, and winning's fun, you know. But, and being around Dylan and Jordan, we're good friends to this day, and I think it's the connections for me that you kind of make at a hockey rink that you don't really make in any other environment, I feel like.
Okay. Interesting that was your first season. That was obviously a great season. The team went to state, and I guess it was kind of a typical small town varsity team issue where the team had a lot of talent. You had that really long winning streak, remember, that started at the Christmas tournament. But the team was just wasn't deep enough to go real far in the playoffs, right? Or it's at state, I mean.
Right. Yeah, and that was kind of it. You know, we had 2 solid lines. We had a grinder line that, you know, you send out there and you try to give the top 2 lines a break and refresh a little bit. But, you know, at that level, you really got to kind of have 3 solid lines that can constantly roll through. And you know, at that state game, you know, that I think Mike Olson, the goalie, probably wants a couple of those shots back. But yeah, I mean, that was a really fun team to be around. I learned a lot that year too, and you know, like I said, I'm still involved in a lot of those players, you know, in terms of relationship wise, and actually, you know, Jordan Brown is a pretty big coach down in the Verona area right now. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So just as a coach, was it difficult to kind of find your role? Like, was it different than being a player?
Yeah, I mean, originally, you know, and I still struggle with this from time to time. You know, you want to be one of the guys. You want to have fun and joke around.
Okay.
Like you're still their age, but at some point, you know, they gotta respect you as an authoritative figure. And that was hard to figure out when I was closer to their age, but now it's, you know, it's coming pretty natural, and especially here at the Ducks, you know, it's been a joy to kind of have some older players to kind of talk to and realize that my coaching can't be the same it was at the high school level as it is here.
Okay. So an interesting dynamic between you and Coach Matson. Obviously, you get along very well.
Yeah.
He said in the past that he's kind of grooming you to be a successor down the road. What kind of a role do you play on the bench with the RWD team?
To be honest, I'm kind of the defensive guy with Coach Welch, and so we kind of figure out the rotations with the defensive players and when's a good time to send out our top D pairing with their top line. And that can be trickier to navigate when you're the away team because you look at the last change, right? So you got to kind of foreshadow, and at times, Neil does get a little excited, and I am kind of that guy that's like, Neil, that it's going to be fine. It's fine. We got this,
Oh, really?
out.
Okay.
But and other times too where he's kind of told me the way it is too, So. No, and Coach Welch and I have a great relationship. He's one of my best friends, and I think we just have a really solid bench. And Cade Matson's there too, Neil's son, and Cade's came a long ways in terms of his maturity. But he's such a big stats guy that he's very nice to have in that sense around.
Yeah, he definitely is almost like an advanced scout. He knows everything about a team when they come into play.
Does, and I appreciate a lot of it.
Yeah. Another thing about Coach Matson, he's obviously a veteran. I think he's probably been coaching for more than 20 years.
Yep.
But he's been able to stay modern. As far as I know, he was one of the first varsity coaches to use video and stuff like that. And there's been instances that I can remember where you guys have been able to make adjustments between periods from watching video and stuff like that. That's got to be kind of fun, and it's obviously several coaches inputting on stuff, but just the chemistry is just perfect, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something that he's really distilled quite a bit. That we're gonna watch film, and so a lot of times the families, parents, they've done a great job setting up family meals at RACA for us.
Oh, okay.
And before we eat a meal before a dinner or a dinner before a game night, and we will watch film every time. We watch a lot of film, and the expectation is that these players, these young men, that they go home and watch the film, and so we do have this kind of system set up where we can see what players have watched how much.
Okay.
And it kind of holds an accountability factor for them as well.
Okay. One of the cool things at the end of the season, every coach gets to give an award to a player that, for whatever reason you want, I think.
Yeah.
And it, clearly from being at the last couple of banquets and stuff, you identify with the players that maybe don't have the natural talent but really have to work hard, and they do so.
Yep.
What is it about like that? Just something that really appeals to you, it seems.
It really does. I think a lot of it for me is work ethic, and if you come out and work hard and you have a positive attitude, that means a lot to me. But at the same time, one of my biggest legacy award things is overcoming adversity. And so a lot of the young men that I've given the award to in the past have overcome, knee injuries, shoulder injuries, maybe learning disabilities, maybe something to do physically, in the sense of tragedy. And so that's very important to me, and it's something I take pride of. I really take pride of that award, and I think that was just a great idea by Neil to start doing that.
Yeah, and in your case, a lot of times recognizing a player that maybe a lot of people wouldn't even think of.
Correct.
Yeah. So I guess now with the Ducks, you're scouting these high school players. And again, just based on what we were just saying before, like obviously on ice talent and just chemistry and stuff like that is part of what you're looking for. But what is it that like if you're gonna go up and talk to a player about maybe playing for the Ducks, what is it that you're looking for?
I kind of just got my feet wet last year with it a little bit, and Sean was gracious enough to really embrace my role with that, and I haven't really helped out a ton in terms of the recruitment, but I hope to continue to help out in any capacity with that. But I did go to a few high school games, and a lot of it, the most difficult part is talking to the coach and be like, listen, I'm a lot of times I'll foreshadow it and I'll email a coach and say, hey, I'll be here at this game and would love the opportunity to talk to a couple of your players.
Right.
And when I talk to those players, I just ask if they had even considered playing at the next level first, and that's something that is important, obviously, to get out of the way right away, right? But and then a couple of instances, Jimmy, they hadn't even thought about it because nobody's approached them. And so it's like, and then you invite them to camps and skates. And that's something that Rhodey does such a great job of, and Sean, that they invite anybody to skate. Just come and skate with us, and just see how you like it. How do you like the locker room? How do you like the guys, the coaching, the practices? And so it's really just kind of getting a feel, and giving information. I'll give them a business card and some pamphlets, and don't hesitate to text or call at any time,
Right.
So
let's with the Ducks, you were able to get on the bench at the tournament on the weekend, and you've been able to talk to Rhodey, as you said. They're also starting to get a really good coaching staff in place. I think Rhodey is a very modern style coach with his practices are hard skating usually, and effectively putting players out of their comfort zone a lot in his practices and stuff like that. With Coach Matson, you've been it sounds like you've really been a sponge and sort of built your own confidence, just by listening and watching. Is it similar with Rhodey?
I think it's kind of getting there. I mean, two different kind of coaching styles, right? I think Rhodey is such a good skills. He's got such a talented brain in the sense of working on things that need to be corrected in terms of body positioning and stick handling skills and strides and all that stuff. And I haven't seen a ton of the game plan type stuff yet because I just haven't been around it. But at the same time, this weekend I did get kind of a glimpse of it, and him and Colin, they worked tremendously well together.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny's kind of coming into his own there as well. But I guess kind of to answer your question, I hope to continue to learn from Rhodey and Colin and Danny, and see the different coaching styles and take away whatever I can from them.
Okay. With Coach Matson, he's a coach who he spends a lot of time thinking about the game. I think it's the hockey season generally goes from November till February for varsity. But with Coach Matson, he's kind of made it a 365 day a year job. He at least in terms of thinking and
thinking about it, right?
And the players that are coming up and stuff like that. And it's changed a lot, I think, even since you played the game, that it really is kind of like a lot of other sports now. It's become a year-round thing where you go from, playing varsity to maybe playing AAA in the summer or going to some camps, stuff like that. What are your feelings about that?
Yeah, mixed feelings. Mixed feelings because, growing up in Reedsburg, you didn't necessarily always have that availability unless you wanted to travel, and traveling would involve money, right? And some families just can't do that.
Yep, good point.
And so you do what you can, and other families, they want to play baseball and football and or whatever it may be,
right?
And that's good too, because I think that's very healthy for kids to have different experiences. But I think if you can skate a little bit here and there, get on ice and want to key. Now is a little bit different because the Dells does open up a little bit earlier than RAC. You're able to get on the ice a month and a half before season starts,
right.
And that's great. And Kirby's flexible, with the guys and allowing them to get some ice. And it's really on yourself. There's stuff you can do off ice to get you prepared for a hockey season. So I guess it's just a matter of how much you want it and when it comes down to it. And, there's other people that'll help you in the gym. You can always go in the gym and work hard there at the high school level for sure. And I don't know, I guess that's kind of where things land for Reedsburg, in that capacity.
Well, as a 3-sport athlete yourself, it was, there was always a time to hang them up. And I think it was Gretzky that said, the best thing about, moving on and playing something else is it makes it special when you pull that equipment out again a couple months later.
True. Yeah.
Builds the anticipation, I guess.
That's true.
So the season coming up, we'll start with the Ducks. It's got to be kind of exciting, and I know it is for me. The team has really been in kind of some dark ages here for maybe about the last 5 or 6 seasons, but all signs are pointing to a kind of a breakout season this year, I think.
Yeah, I get that feeling too, Jimmy. There's just kind of a different feel of identity than when I was in the locker room last year even. Coach Trulock kind of brings this intensity, that expectation that you're going to work hard and you're going to correct your mistakes, but you're going to have mistakes, and that's okay too.
Right.
But we can't continue to have the same mistakes. And so there is just this different vibe right now, and Danny brings this kind of scope of, mix between the players to the coaches, because he's still younger, but he has this great insight as well on the bench. So I do, I do feel the same sentiment that you feel there, Jim, in the sense that maybe things are turning around here.
Okay. And then RWD a couple months down the road yet, I guess. But an interesting time, I think, for pretty much all the varsity teams in Sauk County. We're coming into an era where the teams are going to have to focus on defense a lot. I think RWD is not going to be a team that can maybe score 4 or 5 goals a game this season. And it's going to make defense very, very important.
Yeah, I'd agree. And that starts, with goaltending. I think Alex Grebe, he had a solid year last year, but he also had some really good D-men in front of him. Mm-hmm. He had Lucas Vana, he had Logan Damaris, Carson Brandt, Ike Elder, who's coming back this year, who'll be a big piece this year. Mark Othmer coming back this year, he's going to be a big piece, and got some expectations for the younger ones. Uh-huh. But, what it comes down to as well is not letting up any shift.
Okay.
And so we're going to have some off nights, but we need to have more on nights than off nights.
What was it that got you into hockey? Are you a fan of the game? Like, what was it that kind of first made you want to play?
That goes way back to 4 or 5 or whatever, and actually, the biggest thing for me was my mom and dad got me into it because I had ADHD and constantly couldn't settle myself down, and so just get me moving. And actually, one of my old coaches, Bruce Donlin, he nicknamed me kind of Spinner because I would spin around waiting for the puck to drop because I was so ADHD-ish, So that's how it started. It's kind of a neat little start there, but
okay. And away from the ice, do you watch hockey on TV? Do you have a favorite team?
A little bit, yeah. I'm a Wild fan.
Okay.
Got the Wild, and second team's kind of the Maple Leafs. I'm surprised you probably didn't know that there, Jim. I know you're a fan, but just because growing up, my mom, there was a store in Middleton Cycle, and she would just get me, she'd pick the team that for me and my younger brother. I have a younger brother that played hockey too, and Maple Leafs was the team that she picked, and she'd just always get me stuff and that's how it stuck. But it's
interesting because they're similar in a way that they both had good teams, great teams, but just a lot of playoff futility for both teams.
They're very same in that sense. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So it's taxing being a fan of the Wild, I'm sure, just like it is with the Leafs. So Jeremy, just a week away from camp here. I appreciate you coming out. It's so nice to have a local presence now on the coaching staff, and with a player like John Scott coming out. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I hope things go really well for you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie. Thank you for your time.